At the London Motorcycle Show back in February, one of the daily quiz questions was, which UK race circuit has undergone a £3.5 million facelift? The answer was Snetterton. What a cracking place to come for round 4 of the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship. Round 3 took place at a wet and windy Knockhill, and for one crew in particular, their world turned upside down twice. Conditions at Knockhill could not have been worse for the opening race. There was standing water most of the way around the circuit, and visibility as the crews left the line was well nigh impossible if you weren't in the top 3. But from the outset, Tim Reeves and Greg Clues made their intentions very clear. Barry James and Jamie Wynn desperate to catch up ground, of course. In the early stages, John Clark and Stuart Graham ran on at the hairpin. The hairpin actually proved to be the downfall of many crews, but the first of 2 huge crashes for Barry James and Jamie Wynn saw them lose it on the curb, spin with the rider trapped upside down in the outfit. Everyone fortunately missed them. A red flag came out. That indeed was a big crash. The restart took place without James and Wynn, of course, and again it was Tim Reeves and Greg Clues who effectively made it away from the lights, but hot in pursuit, Scott Lorry and James Neve on local ground here, home soil for them. Knockhill favourite Phil Bell on the number 8 outfit had a terrific ding-dong, if you'll pardon the expression, with Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson. Never really out of the top 3 or 4 here at Knockhill was Bell. Ben Holland and Peach then also got involved in a great big struggle. There was still a lot of water around throughout race 1, but at the checkered flag, a wave finger from Greg Clues signalled their victory in the opening encounter. The sun shone for the second outing, and from the drop, Scott Lorry made a huge lunge towards the front, and going down towards what was the old Duffer Stip, he had a clear advantage over Tim Reeves, who got it wrong on more than one occasion in this race in his desperation to close the gap on the black outfit ahead of him. Scott Lorry had a great deal to prove, and further down the order, the young guard as well going well. Ben Holland collected John Clark and Stuart Graham, inflicting serious damage to the front of their outfit. At the front, though, the breakaway duo of Lorry and Reeves battled, with Reeves getting the advantage one more time. Lorry, though, looking desperate to make it up, had second thoughts. Just as well, though, because Tim Reeves would not give ground, you could be rest assured. Lorry and Neve then got it all wrong again at the hairpin as they spun round, leaving Phil Bell and Ashley Hawes the opportunity to leap into second place. They needed no other invitation, so the red and yellow crew made it to second. Making ground again from the back of the grid, Barry James and Jamie Wynn unbelievably did almost a carbon copy of their first race crash. Fortunately, everyone missed them, with Ben Bygrave struggling to keep it on 3 wheels to avoid them. A red flag then came out, and that was the result. Reeves and Clues moved on to a 65-point lead, with Phil Bell elevating himself to 3rd place. The boy band Bygrave and Holland there 7th and 8th. The Birchells, well, they didn't feature, but they'll be back for Snetterton. Clark and Graham, not a good day for them. Shandon Barrett, Lambert and Schofield level on 13 points, so everybody picking up something at Knockhill. The tail end of the table then, still a fair bit of work to do. Another local man, David Rinn, he got 4 points. At nearly 3 miles, this is the longest circuit we'll be visiting this year. Let's take a look from the rider's eye view at this fantastically technical yet very fast new circuit. 2.97 miles the lap on board with Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson. Jonathan Palmer has very kindly named all of the bends for us, but we're going at such a rate of knots. This is the old top part of the circuit, which would have gone now into a more gradual right, but it's a very tight hairpin round here, down into second gear at Montreal. Squirting up now towards the new left-hander named Palmer. We just missed the signboard there out of the left, but the chair wheel trying to pop up down here. Now this is A short straight, but it's a fast straight. There are dips and rises on this circuit, and now down to Agostini's. A very tight left-hander, taken round here in third, just feathering the throttle, then away it goes left yet again. So you've got to keep the power on and yet be mindful of the fact there's a left. Now at Oggies, this is about as tight as it gets, all the way down into second for this right-hander, getting it round, watching the front, making sure it doesn't creep away as you feed the power in. Right again onto the fastest part of the circuit. We're going to see sixth gear, something over 150 miles an hour down here. Believe you me, the tarmac flashes by. Just watch the speed at which we go under the bridge. It's gone in a flash. Left-hander then into the chicane. Left and right. Out of here, up towards the bomb hole. Fourth gear, fifth gear. Just nudging sixth before we get into Coram. And Coram goes on and on and on, down into fifth on the apex. Back down towards what was the old chicane, but is now a very tight left-hander, renamed Murray's, taken in about second. Third for some riders, but it's tight. The problem is getting the brakes on, and then here we go onto the centre straight. That completes 2.97 miles of the new Snetterton 300 track. The last time I saw this particular outfit, it was north of the border, and it was covered in mud. Barry James, Jamie Wynn, I suppose it's fair to say that Knockhill is an event you'd prefer to forget.
Yeah, probably a good idea to forget it, really. I think definitely forget that one. Right, wise, put off the board.
Jamie, inverted twice, and I mean, they were both big crashes, weren't they? But the conditions were bad, in fairness.
Yeah, the conditions were awful. You know, the rain, the cold, but that, you know, that's Scotland, I suppose. We'll bounce back, I'm sure.
And from virtually a tail of the grid start, you were fighting up to third place when the second catastrophe happened.
Yeah, we'd done all right up to that point, and then it sort of went wrong when we got behind my own teammate, Mr. Peach. My fault and no one else to blame, like, and just got it a bit wrong.
Barry, there's no question you've got the speed. I mean, you are one of the young talents really nipping away at the front. You've already had clear wins this year. So, you know, you must feel inspired. Don't lose your confidence, whatever you do.
No, we'll bounce back. Probably take this meeting a bit steady just to get the bike set up, make sure nothing's wrong with it from the crashes. We've had it to pieces since then, but you never know, we may have missed something.
Jamie, Snetterton here, long circuit, lovely tarmac. For me, it looks pretty good. How is it?
It's a lovely circuit with the changes they've made, yeah. A lot of left-handers, so that suits our style. Yeah, we like it a lot.
We could do with some good weather, couldn't we, this weekend?
Fingers crossed, yes please, a bit of sunshine.
Good luck to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, two huge talents made a welcome return to Snetterton this weekend, straight from a double podium in the World Championship in Croatia the previous weekend. Ben and Tom, good to see you back. This is a good opportunity to make up some lost ground.
Yeah. Hopefully we've been busy. You know, after Brands we went to Schleich to the first GP. It was going well, and then we had a bit of an incident there, which sort of caused us to miss the two British rounds. We also had the TT in between, so yeah, we've had a lot to do and a lot to get ready for. But we're back now and see how we go.
Tom, last time we spoke, you were recovering from a bit of a knock. Presumably that's all behind you and you're fighting fit.
Yeah. Big thanks to John Lawson for that, really. He took me to see Brian Simpson, and then I went to see Sarah at John Fretwell Centre, and they gave me some great treatment and really helped us get back going again. But yeah, the injury's fine now. It's not a problem at all.
Ben, 3 rounds have gone. You did well at Brands and scored some points. Reevesy seems to be getting away with it, but is it still doable, the championship this year?
I would think so, yeah. There's a lot of rounds and a lot of points, you know, still up for grabs. Tim's on top form, and I think we're not far behind him, so we'll see. We'll just keep plugging away. There's unfortunate that one does clash later on in the year, but our outset was to support this championship, and that's what we'll continue to do.
Sidecar racing is a very physical, tough, hard, fast sport. Hardly, you might think, a sport for ladies, but there are 2 ladies nonetheless registered as passengers in this year's series. Earlier in the year at Brands Hatch, I caught up with one of them. Carol, you're one of 2 lady passengers in the championship. I have to ask you, what's the appeal?
The appeal is the adrenaline rush and also the team spirit. You know, 2 people working together on the bike. And also I love the actual whole atmosphere of the paddock and the teams themselves. Like on the track it's, you know, really competitive, but off the track there's just a fantastic atmosphere about the whole atmosphere, the paddock, the lot. It's really, really good. Teamwork like you would never get it in any other sport, really, I don't think.
Over the years, there's been a great history of very, very successful lady passengers, you know, sprinkling throughout the World Championship and the British Championship. It's one area, I suspect, where a lady can be just as effective as a man.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are a few of us at this level. This is the first time that I've actually raced at this level. But I think you adapt yourself. I mean, I'm slightly smaller than maybe most of the men would be, and that's true of a lot of women passengers. But you adapt your riding style to compensate for that on the bike. So position your body slightly differently to make sure the suspension works, etc. So I don't think it's a disadvantage. And also, Ian, my driver's the same build as me, so I'm not having to counterbalance someone who's a lot heavier. So the team pairing is important as well.
I think if I look at ice skating, where you have so many successful partnerships, the public out there maybe draw the ultimate conclusion that they're an item, but that's not the case, is it?
No, it's not the case. No, me and Ian aren't item. Very close friends, but we're not an item, no. There's some people that race sidecars are, and there's quite a lot of the F2 teams which are husband and wife, and sometimes brother and sister, but no, there's nothing between me and Ian, no.
Well, it's good to see you, and I'll be watching. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
You can see the size of the entry here this weekend, so a good grid position is absolutely vital. Several of these guys have got a real need for big points, so they need a good place on the grid. They're all streaming through to do their qualifying laps. I wonder who's going to be on pole position. There were 2 qualifying sessions on the Saturday, but that was only half the job done, because a short sprint race at the end of the day would actually determine the final grid positions. But it's all trackcraft, it's all experience. And from the early stages in qualifying, the Birchells made their intentions very clear. You heard in their interview that they needed to earn points, and the only way to earn points is get a race win, and to get a race win you need a good grid slot. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, consistent as ever. Terrific for them, but that race determined the grid, and it was the Birchells streets ahead of second place then Tim Reeves. That's how they line up. It's the Birchells-Reeves pairing on the front row. Lovelock and Lawrence, sensational. Pete Richardson, Laurie Neve, not quite as good as Knockhill, but still fast. Holland, Bygrave, Clark, Bell, and James and Wynne, row 5. It was indeed a very full entry. Young Steve Kershaw, Rob Wilson, actually injured, was unable to take part, so he had a stand-in passenger. Craig Chaplow got himself onto row 6 with former world champion passenger Pat Farrance. 10 rows then, 20 crews will line up for race 1. Join us again after the break. We're going to take a few minutes away. Welcome back. Well, you know what they say, when the flag drops, the talking stops. We're here on the grid then for the first race in today's programme. This is going to be really good. A short 5-lap dash yesterday redefined the grid, so I'm here on the 3rd row. Ben Holland, Lee Watts had a really, really good ride. Scott Laurie as well, led, but now he's down here on the 3rd row. Moving back to the 2nd row, to the right of me, the ever-present Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, always reliable, always dependable. They're on the 2nd row. Andy Peach, Charlie Richardson, they're on the 2nd row. The front row, though, remains the same, although a very subtle change in position. Relegated to 2nd place, Tim Reeves, Greg Clues. Our new pole position, the Birchall brothers. 9 laps then, that'll be roughly 26 miles of this fantastic new Snetterton 300 circuit. A big, big entry. It's a narrow start-finish straight. They've got an uphill climb towards the first right-hander, 5th gear right-hander of Riches. Flagman indicating the lights. 9 laps then. Reeves against the pit wall. When the lights go out, like now, they're away. Expect to see some contact here because they're bunched. Look at the chopping and changing as they head. Scott Laurie then. What a cracking start. He eclipsed Tim Reeves somehow. Reeves' outfit seemed to bog down. The Honda definitely bogged down off the line. But the Birchells, from the word go, look at them throw it round the back wheel, just skating round as they chucked it into that right-hander. I'd like to say he did that with front brake, but of course there is no such thing as a front brake as such, but he certainly threw it round. Andy Peach, Charlie Richardson getting a little bit sideways. It's all frantic, it's all going on. Alongside me, jumping about in his chair, getting all twitchy, former driver, Roger Body. Roger, look how close they are.
Yeah, fantastic, particularly this left hand, you know, and bunches everybody up. Left-handers are considerably harder on an outfit than right hand as well. I always used to think they were, but to say the Birchells make light of it.
They certainly are. Leg in the air then from Tom Birchall, already breaking away from Scott Lorry and James Neave, but the Scotsman on the black outfit really making his presence felt. Up the inside though goes Andy Peach. Can he get it stopped and turned? Oh yes he can. Charlie Richardson anchoring down the sidecar, antics over the back wheel. Reeves then in fourth, the number 77, yellow and green. Then it's John Clark, Stuart Graham. Then it's Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence, number 49 on the green outfit. Then it's Ben Holland, Lee Watson. Here we go then. Let's take a look. Talk us through the start here, Roger.
It's a typical start from Andy. We saw Andy at Brands Hatch. Nobody, he gives in to nobody at the start. And having said that, the Birchells come straight across the front of him. But Ben's obviously really wants this race, you know. And Reeves is caught there in fourth place, so that's good for Ben.
Well, a great battle going on. Onto the grass goes John Clark. The Ulsterman away on the grass, runs wide. Again, that fantastic right-hand turn by the Birchells. Reeves then has got past Scott Lorry. He's up to third, Tim Reeves and Greg Clues. Ben Holland, Lee Watson, the number 60 JH Racing outfit. Look at the Birchells breaking away. They came into this round with just the points they collected in the opening race at Brands. Since then, they've been away doing other things, you heard in the interview. Reeves and Clues then chasing down the pack. No longer is Tim Reeves the dominant force that we've seen in previous races. He's having to work for his living these days, and work he really does, not least of all the passenger, Greg Clues, one of the most athletic, I think, on the circuit.
Yeah, I think Greg seems to get his photograph. He does work really hard at passenger, and he's such an enthusiast. He's such a determined character. Hates losing, hates it.
Look at this lot, three abreast. Sorry to cut across you, Roger. Three abreast, and Reeves goes past Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson up into second place. And you mentioned to me earlier that is one of Andy's strong points there, and yet Reeves was through. So up to second, down to third goes Andy Peach. Still Scott Lorry on the black outfit. He's there, Roger Lovelock. Then it's Ben Holland. Look at the race leader. A massive advantage here. Clearly loves this track. Can Reevesy wind him in?
Well, he's certainly coming after. I think that's why he was so determined to get past Andy, you know, there, rather than leave it any longer. But I think he's left himself with a big task to catch the Birchells. They're obviously on form, and you know, and they know these tyres inside out. Whereas, to be fair to Timmy, the Avon tyres are a new tyre for him, and I think he's struggling with them a bit. But probably more in his head than really on the track.
Oh, on the grass. Reeves is off, and he's on the grass. Funny we should be talking about tyres when that happened, but he's gone grass tracking. That means, and a hand out from Greg Clues, that means we're coming back on the tarmac. Now what's that done to the order? Second place in Andy Peach, white outfit. Third, Scott Lorry. Fourth, Roger Lovelock in the green. Then it's Ben Holland, fifth. I reckon Reeves is down in something like seventh place. So difficult to identify. It all went. Phil Bell is up there, so Phil Bell's ahead of him. Then we've got the Reeves and Bygrave pairing locked in a duel. So they share the same awning. The Ben Bygrave and Callum Lawson duo trying to learn from the old master. Dare I say old master? Well, why not? He's certainly a few years older than they are. Look at the race leader then. Ben Birchall, supreme, on his way here to 25 points. Well, unusual to see Reevesy go on the grass. He must have been trying.
Well, it's funny, I just said about the tyres, but you know, whether it is the tyres, and I'm sure it isn't, I'm sure it's, you know, it's just Timmy getting used to them. He's been on the Yokohamas for a long time.
Oh, that's Craig Chaplow and Pat Farrant's hand in the air. They've had all sorts of problems with fuel starvation, but Craig Chaplow, having scored points in the early rounds, has had a disastrous knock-hill and an equally bad Snetterton so far. Reeves then making ground, coming alongside Phil Bell, but he's got a lot of traffic ahead of him. Ben Holland, Lee Watson, they're looking good. They're looking stronger with every race. Terrific riding. On board then with Scott Lorry and James Neave. Ahead of them, the second place outfit, Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson. A puff of smoke from the rear wheel. Scott Lorry too, he's one of those riders who's getting quicker and quicker, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's so determined. Scott is trying hard on all sorts of fronts. You know, the promotional side and the sponsorship. He really is a determined rider, both on and off the track. You know, he's presents himself really, really well.
Well, for those crews from north of the border, of course, they've got all the driving to do. It's much harder for them. Possibly the economic climate is more difficult for them up there to get sponsorship, so they need everything they can get. Look at this pair of veterans. What a class act they are, though. They're always there. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence, combined ages approaching 100 years. They told me that, so they don't mind me saying it. Always carrying the number 49, always immaculately turned out, and always at the sharp end of the race. This is the battle then for second place. It's where the race is. We can't ignore the Birchells. They're in clear air out the front with a handsome lead, but second place with Reevesy closing is going to be anybody's, Roger.
Yeah, I would think Timmy can get on the back of this crowd, but they're all pretty good pace now, and you can see he's not just reeling them in 2 seconds. It's taking, this is probably the second, third laps, and it's still not quite on them. So these guys are really coming up on the front.
Sidecar popped up there just a little bit on the left-hander as they came onto the straight. As I said, it's a very difficult left-hander. Scott Laurie showing his nose again to Andy Peach, who really throws caution to the wind and chucks the outfit into the right-hander at Riches. Along then to Montreal. Here we go. Down the gearbox here at Montreal. This tight one. Squirting up through the gearbox again. Fourth gear to the left-hander of Palm. Oh, Charlie Richardson, hand in the air. So Andy Peach's Suzuki has expired. They've got a problem. That puts Laurie and Neve up to second. Are we going to see a podium then from young Ben Holland? It was almost a podium at Brands, and he did it without his passenger. Again, the passenger's backside up in the air as Roger Lovelock
nearly without another one.
Nearly drove underneath it. Yeah, absolutely. What about that? How close do you want it?
Yeah, in the left-handed you get a lot of this because the chair wheel's up, so everybody takes them slightly different, but it's great racing.
Ben Holland left the door open there for Roger Lovelock, who's now in a podium position. No, he's not. Ben Holland fighting back. He really is giving it some stick here. The youngsters ahead of the established former champions. Roger Lovelock looking on the inside again. Has he got it this time? Reeves is right behind him. Wow! That was about as close as it gets, but how they maintain control on the brakes into a left-hander, it couldn't be more difficult, could it?
No, it's really, really hard. But it's good to see that these youngsters obviously know that Timmy's there, and they don't seem intimidated. They're still, they're not afraid of keeping him behind.
Can I say intimidated? I think that would be a good thing to say, wouldn't it? Here we go then. Timmy Reeves, number 77, going through on the inside of Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. So going up a notch. He's raised his game now. He knows the Birchells are way, way, way ahead, but he wants second place on the podium if he can possibly do it. He's right in the wheel tracks now of Ben Holland and Lee Watson. Lovelock just maintaining a watching brief there. The conditions here perfect, very strong wind, and that will affect them a little bit as well. Oh, very slow into that right-hander. Now, we're getting bunched up a bit. Is he going to nip on the inside, Roger?
I'm sure he will. Tim's not going to miss that opportunity. It's quite easy, really. It was Ben got it slightly wrong in the right-hander, left the gap open. Well,
a little bit of inexperience, but the racecraft will come. What we're seeing here is these young guys really making their mark on what is the top sidecar championship in Britain. This is the Eastern Airways British F1 Sidecar Championship, and everybody aspires to be in it. It bodes well for 2012, never mind 2011. They're at it here, tooth and nail. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence, just look at the view they've got of the Holland Watson outfit ahead of them. Are they going to get through? He's sideways again. Leaves the door open, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems to hang the back out a bit on some corners, but he's still carrying the speed. And if you look at that's where he's losing his little bit of time is the fact that he is losing that bit with the back hanging out slightly. But I'm sure he's going to get there.
Terrific race then for second place. The answer to the question, is Scott Laurie going to hold on to second? Well, we'll know that in the final analysis. Tim Reeves now right on the back. Slipstreaming does count for a bit here at Snetterton, especially on the very fast back straight where they're pulling, as I said earlier, speeds in excess of 150 miles an hour. James Neve, the big, tall James Neve, just watching. He can see that very quick Paget's Honda come alongside. Number 77, Tim Reeves. They've got it. They've got it. At the end of the straight then, into Riches, they've got it. Well, brilliant stuff. A good recovery from Tim Reeves, it has to be said.
He carried a lot of speed on the start and finish straight, didn't he, through the left-hander, and that's really what gave him the speed at the end of the straight. So, but I suppose he very patiently come up through the field then, Tim. He's usually a bit more aggressive than that, but perhaps he knew he couldn't probably catch the Virtues, so he's just pacing himself.
Well, he certainly knew he had a race on his hands, that's for sure. And it's good to see the likes of Tim Reeves and Greg Clues getting dusted up to a certain extent here. What I mean by that in the nicest way is they are world championship class, just as the Virtuals are world championship class, former world champions. So they should be able to run at the front, and they certainly do. And his recovery from that outing on the grass. Again, I'm looking at Ben Holland with the rear wheel sliding a bit. Maybe his tyre's gone off. Maybe he had a different tyre choice. But it's only a matter of time, I think, before Roger Lovelock on the green outfit makes it through. Ben Holland, Lee Watson. Lee, of course, the lad who entertained us so with that huge spill as he fell from the sidecar at Brands Hatch. Doesn't want to be reminded of that, I'm sure, but it was very entertaining. Mercifully without injury, apart from a few bits of abrasion and skinned hands. Well, they're battling on, and that's the gap now. It's quite a large gap. Mercifully, they go. Oh, Greg Lambert and Carl Schofield on the Ropers Caravan sponsored outfit ahead of Gordon Shand on the yellow bike. They're down the order, but the scrap is no less intense. And straight from this meeting, Greg Lambert is off to ride in the Southern 100 in the Isle of Man. So he's got to go from Snetterton home to North Yorkshire, unload the van, put the 600cc outfit in, and off to the Isle of Man for the Southern 100. Gordon Shand, another one of our competitors who makes that trip, he's riding an F2 outfit as well at this same meeting. So what a busy boy Shandy is. There again, the back wheel sliding round and through on the inside. A wide open door goes Roger Lovelock.
You might be right about Ben's back tyre. There are 3 different grades of back tyre. There's a soft, medium and hard, and maybe Ben has come out on perhaps a soft tyre and it's going off. I'm not really sure what tyres they've got. Most have got mediums on, but he might have had a soft on the rear.
He does seem to have a problem holding the back end in line on the tight right-handers. Maybe his entry speed is so high that it's just slewing round, but you're looking now at an established second place from Tim Reeves and Greg Clues. In third now, but still on the podium, Scott Lorry and James Neve. Ben Holland and Lee Watson relegated by the flying Roger Lovelock. There's your race leader. The gap is the length of this straight. Phenomenal performance by Ben and Tom Birchall. Almost sacrilege that they're ignored by our camera because this is where the action is. But having said that, you can't show everybody.
And I'm sure Ben will be quite happy to be out the front out of it. Yeah, he wanted to win desperately, and he's got to win. So it's great for him.
Ben Bygrave, Callum Lawson having a sniff now at Phil Bell and Ashley Hawes. This pairing a double podium at Knock Hill, but they're less than comfortable here. They've had brake problems throughout practice. In fact, they did qualifying with virtually no brakes at all. And it looks as though they're similarly afflicted with brake trouble in this race. So Phil Bell and Ashley Hawes going backwards, surely a mechanical problem. 2.97 miles for Ben and Tom Birchall to do in the sunshine here at Snetterton. And this is an impeccable display. 25 points. They need every single point they can get.
The outfit's quite interesting. That's their own fairing on that bike, and they built it themselves, and you can see it's impeccable. It's really, really nicely turned out. It's a one-piece fairing, I think, so it's a beautiful machine from that. It's interesting to know also, Barry, that most of these riders, not done this circuit before. Totally new circuit to all of them, so that gearing is different, the tyres are different, all a learning curve.
Well, when I was talking to them about gearing, they're all very cagey, to be honest, about what gears they're going to use.
Birchall got it right.
Well, Scott Lorry said to me, "Don't give away my secrets." And I wouldn't give away his secrets, bless him. He's put it to good use here, that's for sure. Your race leader, though, Ben and Tom Birchall on the Mitchell-sponsored outfit, the number 16 outfit, fresh, as I said earlier, from a second and a third place in the World Championship round. and in Croatia. The British Championship just as important to them, but unfortunately there is one more date clash, which means they will probably miss Silverstone in their quest for World Championship honour. Phil Bell, Ashley Hawes then soldiering round as the Birchells come round in impeccable style. Not much further between where they are now and the checkered flag. They're at Coram, this never-ending right-hander. Round and round it goes. Now just watch the action as they come down to this left, hard on the brakes, the sidecar wheel just pawing the air. Now it's a sprint to the line, a shake of the hand. The brothers then, over the line they go. 27 miles completed, and a stunning victory for Ben and Tom Birchall. Further down the order, indeed, Tim Reeves and Greg Clews, some way back, but they nailed second place after, it has to be said, a terrific fight back. 11 seconds the gap. Scott Laurie, James Neave, Lovelock and Lawrence, you saw this battle going on. Holland. Bygrave recovered brilliantly to take 6 from Phil Bell. John Clark kept going, and Horsepole with Shelley Smithers, a female passenger, 11th place, picked up some points. Scott Laurie, James Neave, third place on the podium. Scott, you said to me, I'm just happy to be on the podium with the superstars. Come on, mate, you're one of them.
Really? There you go. Hey, Mum, I'm a superstar.
Terrific result, though.
Yes, considering we had a few one problem is the bike started overheating. She was leaking water somewhere, so I'm glad we got on the podium for that. Yeah, all good.
James, it's fast out there and there's a lot of work for a passenger.
Yeah, it's not as fast as the old track, but it's still, even though there is long straights, there isn't really anywhere where you can sort of get a breather but yeah, it's fast, it's good. I like the new circuit anyway.
I'm being serious though, you said about the water problem, you're overheating, the engine was slowing. It could have been a better result.
I would like to think so. I noticed that my bike was progressively getting slower. Not slow, but I could definitely feel that I'd lost the edge. So yeah, I would have thought it could have been better.
Ben and Tom Birchall, what can I say? That was a demonstration in sidecar racing. What a win.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you know, we're just glad to be here after what we've been through lately. I must say a massive thank you to Andy and everybody from Mitchells of Mansfield. Sean Hegarty's been to see us this weekend as well, and Louis Christian for his help, and also Yanis Remps. Without them, we wouldn't have been here. You know, we had a big crash in Germany, and we've come back on good form. I think. Yeah, I was just enjoying riding the bike. It was, you know, I won't say it was easy, but you know, it's always hard. But I just really enjoyed it. It's been superb, and the Avon tyres they're just spot on. You know, they just work magic for us.
Tom, everything flowed. You look neat and smooth. I mean, it was a joy to watch.
Yeah, a joy to ride, really. Yeah, the bike's absolutely set up brilliantly. You know, everything's just in place. Everything's working good together. Me and Ben are working great together on bike. You know, the whole team's gelling. It's a pleasure to be involved in it. Yeah.
Well, a masterclass in sidecar racing by Ben and Tom Birchall. What a terrific first race here from Snetterton. Join us again in part 3 when hopefully Tim Reeves can reverse the order. We shall see. It's all to play for. Don't go away. Welcome back to the grid for race 2. I've got my coat on. The wind has picked up. The clouds are coming in. It's been declared a dry race. That doesn't mean it's going to stay a dry race. It could easily rain. 2 of the really fast men, Barry James and Andy Peach, retired in race 1. They're right at the back of the grid, so watch them. They've got a lot to do. Scott Laurie, he had overheating problems. Maybe he can get a better start. He certainly got a terrific start last time. Can he hold it? But it's really all about the battle at the front here. Tim Reeves, pretty keen, I would think, to get a win here at Snetterton. Tim Reeves and Greg Clews, they'll be up for it this time. The Birchalls, well, supreme in the first race here today. Is it going to be another top step of the podium for them? 26 miles to go. It's going to be a good one. Well, you can bet that Tim Reeves has got his mind set on victory this time. Will not want a couple of defeats. He'll want to do something about it. Reeves then, and the Birchalls. Oh, bogging down again off the line. Tim Reeves went backwards, so much so that he was almost caught by young Ben Bygrave in his identical livery. The Sloanes at the back. Sloane Racing outfit, the blue outfit right at the back, bringing up the rear then, but a great lead from the lights. Scott Lorry, James Neave, ahead of Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence. They're making the break while they can. Tim Reeves has catapulted himself into third position. It wasn't a particularly good start by the Birchalls. They're vying for fourth at the moment. But look at this, up the inside then. Ben Holland pushing hard there. Ben Holland, Lee Watson showed his nose. Sloane's at the back, the number 62 outfit. Again, everybody very closely bunched here. Right in the middle of the pack, young Steve Kershaw. Reeves up to second. Ben Holland going with him, still ahead of the Birchalls. Right down, but carving through. Barry James on the number 3 Santander Salt red outfit. John Clark, Stuart Graham. They're coming thick and fast. Almost too fast, Roger, for my brain to comprehend.
Certainly for mine there. But it was nice to see Ben Holland have a little dig at Timmy there. He's certainly got his confidence up, and he's having another look at Roger Lovelock. He's certainly coming on leaps and bounds, Ben Holland. Definitely.
Good to see them. We've banged on so long about the young guys coming into this sport. Well, we've got some terrific young talent on the horizon, possibly for next season. Never mind what's in this race. So this is really becoming a popular sport now with the youngsters. Look at that then. Roger Lovelock off the line. Just Tim Reeves, I don't know, the Paget's Honda was slow off the line. Whether the rear tyre didn't hook up or the engine bogged down, I've no idea. But it makes hard work for the former world champion. He's in second place though, chasing down Scott Lorry and James Neave, who appear to certainly have overcome their overheating problems. They've got to maintain the consistency. They've been found wanting a little bit in that area, do you think?
I think it's, Scott's, he's still not young at the sport, but he's not been out certainly as long as Timmy. And to be at the front of a race like this, it's quite intimidating. You've got to be calm about it. And I think he gets a bit excited. In fact, I know he does. He was telling me in the paddock, it's one of the things that worries him, the fact that he can't calm down when he's out in the front. But he's doing all right at the moment.
Well, Roger Lovelock, number 49 on the green outfit, they're doing really well. They're pushing hard. They're staying with Tim Reeves, and that's the best possible thing you can do. The Birchalls through on the inside of Ben Holland. John Clark, Ben Bygrave, Phil Bell, side by side. Steve Kershaw in the blue outfit there. Gordon Shand in the yellow. I'll pick them off as fast as I can, but this is the battle for the top 3. Third place then, number 49. Looking back, I don't know who we've got behind him, but it's gonna be Ben and Tom Birchall, I suspect. Are they anywhere in sight? Their bike is very, very quick, but we're on board now with the third place outfit. Still, Tim Reeves nibbling away at the back end of Scott Lorry. And Scott Lorry doing a great job here, holding his ground, isn't he?
It just shows nobody can actually get away now. To be holding out a world champion, or at least staying in front of him. I don't think he's even holding out. I just don't think Timmy can get past him that easy anymore. It's a great ride by Scott.
Well, we've seen investment in these outfits, Roger, and everybody now realises that the engine's got to be spot on, everything's got to be quick. They're beautifully turned out. There's no expense spared where it's at all possible to spend the money to keep these outfits in tip-top condition. And if you're going to run at the front, you have to have your bike in tip-top condition. But we're now seeing the Paget's Honda in the hands of Tim Reeves and Greg Clues, pushing hard the Suzuki of Scott Lorry and James Neave. Probably the best ambassador from north of the border. Scott Lorry certainly has come to prominence in the 2011 season. And all that travelling every week, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles to contest this champ. They're just not getting strung out, are they?
Yeah, Roger Lovelock's back with Timmy. It's it's a great ride by him. Just so as whether we've mentioned it, but these guys are all on basically standard engines now, albeit Suzuki, Yamaha or Honda.
Good point.
So they are more or less all the same power output. Slight variances, but basically all standard engines.
Well, number 3 at the back of the picture there, Barry James and James Wynne, having started along with Andy Peach and Charlie Richardson at the back of the grid. We're looking now from the outfit of Ben Bygrave and Callum Lawson. They're closing on the back of what looks like Phil Bell and Ashley Hawes. It is indeed. This John Lawson sponsored yellow outfit is very quick, but Phil Bell, a master craftsman, left his brakes off just a little bit later and ran in deeper in the corner, retained the place. This the battle then, still in the lead. Scott Lorry, James Neve. Tim Reeves very well aware that the whole field bunching up behind him, and even more aware that the Birchells, he won't necessarily know they're in fourth, but he'll know they are there or thereabouts. So he needs to get past Scott Lorry and get some distance between himself and the chasing pack. Roger Lovelock now on 49, not letting him get away. Look how close they are. Round the outside of Ben Holland comes Barry James then on the red outfit. He's got the slipstream covered, he's out of the slipstream. Look at the front four. Birchall's then trying to get past Roger Lovelock. This is the fourth place outfit, the red bike, the Mitchells of Mansfield sponsored bike you're looking at. Still the race leader with Tim Reeves climbing all over him. Tim Reeves similarly afflicted by Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. So it's a terrific race at the front. You could get them all in the back of a transit, this lot. They are so close. Well, a big marquee anyway, never mind a transit.
I think it's quite amazing. One race, you've got the Birchells have pulled out that lead, and now...
Sorry, Roger. We've got a new leader up the inside. Tim Reeves then scything through on the inside. You're quite right, though. I concur with you completely. Fourth place now.
Well, he's gone.
For Barry James. The Birchells have gone.
Yeah,
Where have the Birchells gone? They're out of the
they've
running.
Obviously got a problem. But Barry James is absolutely flying from the back of the grid to fourth.
There we have it, hand in the air, Ben and Tom Birchall slipping down the order. Andy Peach on the inside of the Birchells. There they go, fading into the horizon in the background. They're out of the running. They've got a mechanical problem, elevating Andy Peach and everybody else up one place. That's done Barry James and Jamie Wynn a huge favour. They've done very well, but retired in the first race, of course. Quick here in qualifying. Desperately need some points after the fiasco at Knockhill. The handout from Tom Birchall, that's a shame for them. You know, they won the sprint race on Saturday. They won the first big race here on race day. Ian Drone, Ryan Anderson on the Mick Robson racing bike, and he races that outfit in fairness, in memory of Mick Robson, who's his long-time friend and sponsor for a while, so great credit to Ian. But into pit lane then come the Birchells. Their race is over. 25 points will not be in their pocket for this race. It'll be 0. There's your race leader. He's got past the battle though. Now for third, up to third goes number 3. 3 on the bike, 3 in the race. Barry James in a podium place. He needed that, we all know that. But it's going to be 25 points for Tim Reeves and Greg Clues, unless some other misfortune befalls them. And it's not unheard of, let's face it. We've seen him in a bit of trouble this year.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be pleased to get clear of Scott, but whether he can pull away now, we will have to wait and see. But certainly Barry James is flying. Obviously determined to make some amends this weekend. But just to make a point, Bear, the prize funding on this is over the 3 races. So the Birchells that's really done them some damage in terms of the prize funding.
Oh dear, so it's going to be a smaller cheque then handed over to the Birchells. So that's a good point. So it's got to be aggregate to earn the big money, I think is the point you're making, Roger.
Yeah, absolutely. And win 2 and then not finishes. Barry James just flew past Scott Lorry.
Barry James
Crazy.
Up to second, Scott Lorry in third. Roger Lovelock still in fourth, still there, still just watching. But remember, the outfit in second place came from the back of the grid. So when I spoke to him earlier, we talked about the speed. He's certainly got the speed. One of the young men who will feature prominently in years to come in sidecar racing, Barry James, absolutely no shadow of a doubt about that. He's got the speed, he is a star of the future. These guys are stars of the past, the present and the future. Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, they're always there. I know I keep saying it, but what a terrific performance they put out every single time. Scott Lorry and James Neve ahead of them. He's closing so quickly on the back of that. Running in on the brakes. Scott Lorry tentative, to say the least.
I think Scott must have a problem really to come from where he did, and he's dropping back, and he's obviously slow into the corners. I'm not sure what the problem is, but certainly Barry's catching Timmy.
He is up to third. Lovelock then third place. We've got third place, so definitely Scott Lorry has got some sort of a problem. There's your race leader. Tim Reeves, Greg Clues, number 77. Second place, Barry James, Jamie Wynn, number 3. Third place, Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence. Fourth and fifth, Ben Holland. Oh, puff of something. That was the sidecar wheel of Roger Lovelock out there on the grass. I wouldn't have thought we'd have seen dust here, but in fairness, there's a strong breeze blowing. It dries out very quickly.
Yeah, and it's not unknown, I have to say, to some of these riders, particularly the top runners, maybe at Grand Prix level, to put a chair in the rough stuff to kick some stones up. So it does happen.
Through on the inside, Ben Holland, Lee Watson, passing Scott Laurie, James Neave, who are now slipping backwards, having led the race for so many laps, so many miles. They're slipping back down the order. Now they find themselves in 5th place. You're looking at the 4th place crew. Ben Holland, Lee Watson. You just see there how the passenger moves, and I just have to emphasise how athletic these passengers are and what it takes to work at this rate. I always find, Roger, that cameras are deceptively difficult when it comes to actual racing speed. It's 3 times as quick as it looks when you're out there.
Absolutely. And these passengers these changeovers left to right are hard work, and I think there's 2 here now. 3, is it? Not sure. This is a new circuit, I've not ridden it, so it's hard work, be assured.
Well, I studied my circuit map long and hard before we got into this round, but certainly it's a lot to remember. 2.97 miles. Andy Peach, number 4. Phil Bell, Ashley Hawes, number 8. They did definitely have brake problems in race 1. They told me that. Brakes binding on. It looks as though the brake problem has reared its head again. The last thing you want round here is your brakes binding on. You need every inch, every ounce of horsepower that you can extract from these 1000cc Suzuki in the main, a sprinkling of Yamaha and a couple of Hondas. The Kawasaki sadly hasn't made an appearance since the first round at Brands Hatch. Oiling problems keeping him out of the running. Hopefully we'll see the Edwards boys back with the Kawasaki, but there's your race leader. Number 77, Tim Reeves on the Paget's Honda. Very well turned out. He's been around a long time. He knows the game. There was a glance over the shoulder there as they start the last lap and a finger in the air. He knows Barry James is closing him down. Now, this begs the question, is it too late? It's a long way round there, but he's got to pull back something like 2 seconds, I suspect, Roger.
I think he's probably near a 1, but I doubt very much whether Barry can reel him in. Even if he can, getting past Timmy on the last laps, no mean feat for anybody.
Well, having ridden through the field, of course, he's probably a spent force because it's hard work when you're fighting from the back. He's certainly been putting in incredibly quick lap times.
He's not giving up.
He's not giving up. He's keeping the hammer down. They're really as close as they've been now, and he can see. And Greg Clues looking a little bit anxious on the sprint through here into Hamilton. Still a long way to go. Halfway round the last lap. Sidecar wheel kicking up a bit of ddust, just as Roger Wadding pointed out. Was that contrived or was he just cutting the corner? 3rd place, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. What an immense ride they've had, and an equally good ride. Ben Holland and Lee Watson just hanging on there. Bygrave too is pulling up into 5th place, so great stuff for them. Down into the chicane for the last time. I think Tim Reeves has got the measure of Barry James. Yeah, the gap hasn't come down anymore. A wave of the hand again from Greg Clues. He senses they've got this one. Round Coram they go. The wind just rippling the back of his leathers. A nice cooling breeze, I suspect, going down the nape of his neck and down into his back, because believe you me, that will be hot work out there. The customary glance over the shoulder. He does it every lap, but he knows he's got it. The checkered flag ahead, and that's it. A 1-2 then. Tim Reeves, 2nd in the first race, made no mistake this time. The Birchall's expired. Barry James, a phenomenal feat to come from the back of the grid. Everyone applauding. The marshals know just how much these guys have ridden to get these results confirmed then. Fantastic win for Reeves and Clues, 25 points for them. James and Wynn, what can I say? Lovelock and Lawrence, they'll be thrilled. Holland, Laurie and Neave, Bygrave and Lawson recovered well to 6th. Clark, more points. Peach, 8th from the back of the grid. Drone and Anderson picked up some points there in 13th place, and the Sloanes as well, they got a point. Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence. I'm tempted to say you can't teach this old dog any new tricks, but in your words, you're here again, aren't you?
I suppose, yeah, these tricks keep coming back, yeah. No, good race. 2 or 3 laps in, we thought, yeah, we could be on for a third here, or possibly even a second, but not the way it panned out. Didn't expect Barry to be up there, but you thought that Ben was going to come storming past at some time or another, and very surprised that we were sort of keeping with Tim to start with. But no, excellent race. We had a bit of a chop and change with tyres to start off with. We put an old hard compound one on, and it worked really well. So extremely pleased with the result. Yeah.
Well, it's a fantastic result, and you know, Roger mentioned Barry coming past. He was on a mission, wasn't he?
He was on a mission. I saw that. I saw a red bike, and I thought it was Birchall's coming through. And then I take a second look and thought, crikey, he is on a mission. He's coming through, and he shut us down, closed us up quite quickly, really, and then went on by. I mean, but I say we were chuffed with that. You know, it was a good old ding dong at the start with Scott and Reezy and us, and you know, and then Ben Holland as well, riding well again. You know, it must have been good on the TV, so that's good for us.
Barry James, Jamie Wynn. I'm speechless. You're breathless from the back of the grid, second, and it was getting closer, wasn't it?
You're getting closer towards the end, but last to second, that's good enough. It's rounded off a really bad weekend, to be fair.
You did a terrific amount of work in the early stages of the race, and you had to, really, didn't you?
Yeah, it was all or nothing, really. Gear linkage broke in the second race and put us on the back, so I had to try for that one.
Jamie, was it harder work or was it really flowing nicely?
Yeah, definitely flowing nicely. It actually makes the race much more enjoyable when you passing people, and like passengers do, we wave at each other, and you know, it was fantastic. I didn't expect that, maybe 5th or 6th or something like that, but over the moon.
Certainly the confidence is back now, mate, with a bang, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's hopefully bodes well for Cadwell. I like Cadwell, so fingers crossed.
Tim Reeves, Greg Clues, fantastic victory. You needed that, in fairness, but I mean, you fought a bit for the first few laps, then you were away.
Yeah, it was a good race, wasn't it? It was got a bit of a useless start yet again, and Scott was riding really well. It's just good again for the class. There's another bloke that's at the front. Yeah, I had to push to pass him, to be fair, and he's riding really good. So yeah, quite enjoyed it.
Greg, this circuit, we've spoken before. You obviously like it here, but it's a fast one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very fast circuit. But we need to find a solution for have a better feeling with the bike. But I enjoy this race. It's a good race.
2 good races, actually, and the Birchalls are going well. They had a mechanical problem. You're dashing now to get an aeroplane to go home. What's next for you, Tim?
We're off on Tuesday night to Saxony for next round of the World Championship. So bike's really strong now. We've thanks to Honda and Clive Paget from Paget's Motorcycles, we've found some bits and bobs that's made the bike really good and strong, and it's as strong as everyone else's now. So I can't wait to get in the next round of the World Championship and hopefully try and get back up the front of that. And just a big thanks to everyone who's helping us with H&S Contractors and Haith and Morris Lubricants, and without them we wouldn't be here, and it's really good.
We're going to see it at Cadwell.
Hope so.
So do I.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Cadwell kicks off effectively the second half of the season, and you could see the massive lead that Reeves and Clues have. Get down to 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. How close do you want it? Barry James, 97 points. So, you know, he could be runner-up in this championship if he doesn't win it. The points pretty well distributed all the way down. Gary Horspole's still there on 23. I'd like to see him earn a few more. Still lacking a bit of confidence, but he'll get there, trust me. It needs to be said that the final round at Mondello Park carries double points. So, are these guys sandbagging? Well, an outstanding second race here at Snetterton saw Tim Reeves, Greg Clues on the top of the podium. A wonderful result for Barry James. What a weekend it's been. Round 5 comes from Cadwell Park, the 13th and the 14th of August. I'll be there. I hope you will. See you then. Bye-bye.